Hey everyone, Robert Nixon here with the Anti-Social Rewind and Tara Jordan of the John Howard Kidstart Society.
Kidstart Mentoring
Kidstart
Program.
Mentoring Program. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey everyone, I'm Tara. I'm the coordinator of the Kidstart program, and I'm happy to be here.
We're going to ask Tara a couple questions. But first of all, I did a little live video and I shared a couple things from the other night, the 100 Men Who Give a Damn. And they narrowed, how many charities was it to start with in the beginning?
Oh, lots. I think 10 maybe?
Yeah, there's like 10, so they narrowed it down to 3. They each did a presentation, and then Tara got voted to win the $3,900.
Yeah, woo!
Not Tara, sorry, the Kidstart program.
Yeah.
So it goes towards helping kids in Campbell River, which we're going to hear a bit about here. So for those who don't know, what is the Kidstart program?
So Kidstart's Campbell River's only mentoring program. Most people are familiar with the Big Brothers Big Sisters model, and that is what Kidstart is in a nutshell. But the Kidstart program exists in Campbell River. It's been running here for 13 years, and Big Brothers Big Sisters closed about 15 years ago. So we're the only program in Campbell River offering mentoring supports to kids between the ages of 6 and 18 who need a caring volunteer to spend a few hours a week with them.
So if you're interested, find Tara. You can, I think it's linked to her page and stuff there, so you can check her out. How long have you been with the Kidstart, and what made you become involved with them?
So I was working for the John Howard Society over 13 years ago, and I heard about the posting, and it really, the position just felt like it was really in line with my values, with my beliefs, and with what I envision for the children and youth of our society, that they need stable volunteers and mentors and caring auntie, uncle, grandma, grandpa people in their lives to help lead them down good life choices and good life paths. And that is what, when everyone says it takes a village to raise a child, it really is just, that's what the Kidstart program is. So I grew up in a family that was a foster family. So my parents, I'm one of 6 kids. We also had 25 foster kids in my home when I was growing up. And I got to see what it was like. And, it's like a life lottery. Some of us are born into homes that really struggle, and some of us are born into homes that really thrive. And it's the luck of the draw into whose home you're born into. And if you are born into a home or have life circumstances that are, more privileged than others, it's just a naturally amazing thing to do, is to give back to those who have struggled more. So sorry,
if a kid's watching this, can any kid just come in, or
yes.
How does that work?
Yeah.
On their own?
Yeah. So Kidstart kids can refer themselves if they're vulnerable or they're struggling or they're considered at risk. Like, they can just come in to me or call me or email me or text me and say, I heard about the Kidstart program. I think I need this for myself, and explain why. Parents can refer their kiddos or guardians or grandparents if there's a vulnerability factor. Right. But most of my referrals come from teachers, counselors, social workers, and professionals that work with children and youth. But I do definitely have many of my referrals coming in from children and families themselves as well.
I think the one, you had the little papers that you passed around at the meeting. The one I got, it was like elderly grandparents taking care of the kid that didn't think that the kid needed it, but in the end the kid did, and it made sense. It wasn't like a financial or distress thing. It was just the fact that the grandparents couldn't be active with the kid, right?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
It doesn't have to be always people that are in distress or anything.
Yeah.
So sorry, you've been doing it how long?
13 years.
And it's been around 13 years?
Kidstart's been in operation in British Columbia since the 1970s. Okay. And it was founded at an organization called PLE, which stands for Pacific Legal Education and Advocacy. And they found in the 70s that there were a lot of supports for kids who were involved in the judicial system. So, if you're in trouble with the law, you've got lots of more supports and services with probation officers and rehabilitation and kind of helping the kids get their feet on the ground. But the younger siblings of those kids on probation would often not have any supports or services available to them whatsoever. But we knew
before they get into trouble.
So the younger siblings would run out to the car when the probation officers would come to pick up the teenagers, and the kids would say, "Can we come too? Can we come too?" And the probation officers would say, "No, you can't come yet," essentially because you haven't broken the law yet. So they said, well, if we can identify these kids that are coming from homes that are probably very, very highly likely to need those supports and services, why are we waiting until they're in trouble with the law? Like, why? It makes no sense. There is common sense here. If a kid is waving a red flag earlier, struggling in school, maybe getting bullied, maybe their parents have separated and they're struggling financially, There's all these reasons why a family might need that extra support,
Yeah.
but let's not wait. Let's connect them to a friend, a volunteer mentor, sooner rather than later.
Be proactive. Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
And did you start this one then? Start this one up?
Yeah, in 2006. Because PLE in Vancouver, headquarters of Kidstart, won the 2005 $1 million Van City Award, which was a competition for social services across the Lower Mainland. And they won that award. And part of their proposal was to expand to Vancouver Island in partnerships with John Howard Societies in Victoria, Courtenay, and Campbell River, if they won. So they gave us all their training that they provided. Was for myself. I went down and I spent some time with them to learn how they do it, and then I was able to bring the program back to Campbell River and get the ball rolling 13 years ago.
Awesome. So I think you're definitely you definitely feel like that it's important, but why? It's clear that she's sincere about it.
There's so many reasons. When you say why, just kids' faces start popping into my mind, and families' faces and situations. I've watched over the past 13 years Kidstart make a dramatic change in the lives of hundreds of kids, where they were getting in serious trouble at school, and then their mentor was introduced, and then they stopped getting in trouble at school, and they started to excel in school. Right. I watched one of my volunteer mentors was matched with a little girl who's one of 5 kids, single parent mom. They were living in a shelter. And the little girl knew she hated math and she was bad at math. She just had thought that she'd kind of been labeled that. Maybe she self-labeled herself. But she decided that math was her weakest subject and she hated it. Her mentor started playing Monopoly with her. And she realized really quickly by playing Monopoly with her, this girl was very smart. She was not stupid at math, she was smart. But she didn't want to tackle it head on. She just kept playing Monopoly with her. And within a short amount of time, the girl loved being the banker. And the mentor was able to affirm, wow, you did that math for how many houses make a hotel faster than I could now. And I'm, 40 and you're only 8. That's amazing. You're so good at math. And then, little bits and pieces, right? And then by Christmas, so they were matched for like 8-9 months. And by Christmas, that little girl was doing so well at math at school. And her mentor gave her 3 things for Christmas: a math workbook, a fingernail painting kit, and I forget what else, some arts and crafty thing. That little girl saw her math workbook and she screamed. She's like, I got a math workbook. She was just, and math is so important.
Yeah.
And confidence to be able to learn is so important. And ability to go into a classroom and tackle it with your whole, your whole heart and have the confidence to know I can do this is important. And I can't tell you what that did for that little girl. It moved mountains for that little girl. And it was Monopoly. It was Monopoly.
A game, yeah.
It was a game. So, this is, in 13 years and hundreds of kids, I could talk to you for the next 2 weeks straight about the kids, all the stories. And I wouldn't even get into the beginning of all of the beautiful stories. But yeah, it's life-changing for the mentors. It's life-changing for the volunteers. It's life-changing for the parents who get to see how amazing it is for their kiddos. And it's life-changing for me too, because I get to witness this over and over and over again when caring volunteers who have time and love to give are introduced to kids who need that time and love. And it's all volunteer. So kiddos often have paid professionals in their lives. They have teachers. Some of them have counselors. Some of them have, nurses, doctors.
Do you think they receive it differently knowing that someone's not paid?
100%. At some level, a few months in, almost every kid starts to go. They lean into their volunteer and they go, so you're not getting paid for this? Right. Or they, at some point, it depends on how old the kid is.
Once they learn the math.
They almost, totally. Once you get them on the math. But they do. Most often kids will say, so you don't get paid for this. And if they're a kiddo who's been in, had foster families or paid counselors, they know those people at some level that they're paid. So when they figure out a volunteer, what does that mean? My existence, who I am, being with me is worth something. That's all it communicates. Right. And what is the sense of worth that's communicated? What does that mean to their well-being? What does that mean to their life? It means, it's there's no words to describe what it means.
So I was trying to avoid the word passionate because the next question is, why are you passionate about, or what makes you passionate about this program? Which clearly she is, but is there any
Thanks.
Can you elaborate?
More than anything, I believe that we should be investing in children when they need it most, not waiting until they're falling through the cracks to put band-aids on that, which is the millions and millions, billions of dollars we spend on our judicial system when we don't step up to help the kids in our community that are struggling when they need it most. So more than anything, I know, I've seen, I've experienced that when we spend, and the funny thing is, Kidstart on average, when we break down our budget for the year, it's about $100 a month is what it costs a kid to be involved in the program. Training volunteers, sponsoring, like supporting the volunteers, monitoring the volunteers. It's the time and energy it takes for the organization and myself to make sure the right people get into the right place at the right time. But it's nothing when you compare that to what could happen if 10 years down the road they don't get that support. And so I'm very, of course, passionate about prevention. The model it's a simple prevention model based on time and love. There's nothing simpler. And then I get to be the conduit who connects the dots.
You get the reward more than all them, probably. Because you see it all.
I absolutely feel like this is the best job in the world, hands down. Somebody asked me recently if I would ever consider leaving Kidstart, and my first reaction was I got teary. I was like, not now, not this year, not ever.
It's kind of interesting because we went to the debate thing that you shared on Facebook, so that's how I knew about it. And they were all talking about, I mean, like, way off topic here, but talking about legalization of drugs and safe injection sites and all that stuff. But stuff they never talk about stuff like this, where if you are proactive beforehand, maybe people won't become that, right?
Yes.
The ones that have issues, right? That's where it stems
is,
from a lot, I think.
The truth is, we got the first 3 years of funding from PLE because of the $1 Million Vancity Award, but since then we've been scrambling to create ongoing funding for Kidstart because municipally, provincially, and federally, they don't mandate funding prevention programs.
So it's all funded by donations.
Yes, donations, right? Fundraising, grant writing. Yeah, every little bit comes together. Anything and everything.
And it is nonprofit, right?
It is. Yeah.
I would assume that.
Yeah. So all donations get charitable tax receipts. Yeah, and we stretch our dollars farther than I can imagine anyone else doing any kind of social service work with kids because we're volunteer based. So I'm helping every week. I'm helping 41 kids, and I have a whole bunch of other kids on my wait list that I'm providing supports like for recreational access, swimming lessons, skating lessons, and supports that connect their families to supports and services as much as I can. So really, for what you can do for $100 a week, it's priceless.
That's right, because swimming lessons is like $25.
I know. For a month, it's nothing.
So you can sponsor a kid for that or something.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, we have
that's
a recreation.
Good, you can do it without being hands-on. Right?
Totally. Yeah, I have people that a couple social service clubs that give us money to help me connect the dots to kids who need swimming lessons, and then the volunteers drive the kids to swimming lessons because often transportation is the main barrier. If you're a single mom with 4 kids, you work full time at Walmart. How do you get one to swimming lessons 3 times a week? It's really hard, but the volunteers can bring it all together. And actually, I also have 2 volunteer drivers who are also very thoroughly screened and trained, as the volunteers are, to help me getting kids to activities like that.
Yeah. So. Awesome.
Yeah.
What did you do before getting involved in Kidstart?
I was always in the social work sector. I went to school for this. Before this, I was a diversity educator, and I worked at the Multicultural and Immigrant Services Association, which is now the Immigrant Welcome Center. I did that for 4 years. And before that, I worked with multicultural youth in Vancouver with new immigrant youth. I ran that program. And before that, I was an ESL teacher. I taught in Japan and India. Before that, I was a waitress.
Nice. And then a kid yourself, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So this question's more about how does Facebook, Instagram, you guys constantly post on any of those places and have like a page?
We do have a page, so please like us on Facebook. It's called the John Howard Kidstart Mentoring Program, and we are not on Instagram. We don't have a advertising budget, so there's no extras. If people will promote us like you are today, we are incredibly grateful, because a lot of people still in Campbell River and area, because we do mentoring like Campbell River, Kidstarts for Campbell River, Courtenay, and surrounding areas, so Sayward, Comox, Cumberland, Quadra Island. So it's all of these areas. Yeah.
So there isn't one in Courtenay?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So if you have any idea about how to get the word out, please get in touch with me.
For sure. So share this video.
Yeah, and share this video, because it is. We have 156 kids in Campbell River right now on our wait list, and that means that kids are going to be waiting on average, boys 4 to 6 years to get volunteers. Girls
6 years. How many? Sorry, 146.
156 boys. So waiting.
Well, all boys. 156 boys.
No, of those.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Probably 80% are boys. We have way more boys waiting than girls.
And that's partly because you have more female volunteers.
And we have way more female volunteers than male volunteers. So really hoping to get the word out to volunteers. So volunteers can be couples, if you want to mentor together as something fun you do together. Volunteers can be individuals, so one-on-one, or volunteers can be families. So volunteer with a child with your family along. So if you have a family, a kiddo, you have a couple of kids or one child or more, pick up a kiddo once a week and go and do fun things with them. And I did that as a mentor. I spent a year with my little buddy till he moved to Victoria. And I have 2 kids who were 3 and 6 at the time. And Fridays we just hung out. We had a blast. Yeah. As a parent, if you add another kid to the equation, most parents will know this, it makes your life easier. It totally is just like Fridays was one of my favorite days of the week because we got to hang out with our buddy. Yeah. And my kids, the way I explained it to my kids was he was the VIP on Fridays. And so I'll call him Bobby. And Bobby Bobby's coming on Friday, and remember, Bobby's the VIP, so he gets to decide, and it was simple stuff. He got to decide what we ate, what we did, and how we got there. So there was choices. He almost always chose riding his bike, because we like to bike places. He always chose tacos. It was pretty reliable. He loved our Taco Fridays. And he loved to play Lego with us. He loved to jump on our trampoline with us and play board games. He really liked to play Snakes and Ladders. And, it's just simple fun. I gave him some bigger choices. Like I was like, we could go watch the Storm hockey game, or we could go to Saratoga Speedway. And he's so sweet. He's like, Tara, could we just have tacos and play Lego and jump on the trampoline? And I was like, of course, honey, we can do that, because that's what he loved. That's what he wanted to do. And it was just something, as a parent, it was easy. It didn't make any extra work for me. It actually made my life easier. And it was super fun. And his mom loved it. He was a single parent mom raising her son, and I felt good. So mentors can be individuals, couples, or families, and it's about spending a few hours a week together.
I think it's a good reason too, like even if you already have your own kid, but just to get out and do something, right? Get out of everyday life and your routine, right?
Yeah, well, as a parent,
that's what I was thinking about. It'd be good. Yeah.
As a parent, I often found myself, kids are, I'm washing the dishes, I'll play with you later, or I'm making dinner, I'll play with you later. But on Kidstart days, I had that was 3, 4, 5 hours a week. I'd hang out with him. The idea is it's 3 hours a week minimum, but I found 5 hours would go by very easily. And what I would do in the time that we would spend with our buddy is I would be more focused on the kids. So that's why everybody was happier.
Exactly.
Everybody was happier because I kind of etched out that time to be, and I did things like we hung out at the school playground in the sunshine while the kids were playing at the playground, and I just laid and relaxed, and they're happy.
And they play together,
look at me. But normally as a parent, I'd be like, let's go, we're gonna rush here, we gotta go there, we gotta go there. But on Kidstart days, it was just downtime for me too. So.
And was it less fighting between the other 2 kids?
Absolutely, 100% less. Absolutely.
Someone else to bring
And
it
we
out.
had to pick the right kiddo too. Like that's really key to the success of this program. Right. Is you have to pick the right kiddo to match with the right mentor, and the right mentor to match with the right kiddo or couple or or family. It had to be the right age, the right gender, the right hobbies and personality. You have to make a fit that makes sense for everybody involved, which is why the way we do this is so successful. It's a collaborative personality.
We didn't do the personality assessment with her, but we were getting it. We're short on time.
But it's a collaborative decision-making process.
Yeah, for sure. What are your long-term goals?
If I could wave a magic Kidstart wand,
have them all. Have
I would.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah, well, this program should be run by 3 full-time staff, and it only has me, and I'm working part-time. Yeah. I'm only 20 hours a week funded. I also do lots of volunteer work to make it all come together. So it would be to have funding for the program so that we could meet the needs of the 156 kids on our wait list.
And people, though, what do you think would make more of a difference? People stepping up or more funding? If you had more funding, you'd be able to find more people? At
this point, funding, because it takes about 10 to 15 hours of my time to screen and train a new volunteer.
Right.
And then ongoing support takes a lot of time. And I'm paid to work
10 to 15 per person.
Per person. So I'm only paid to work 20 hours a week. So I do volunteer on top of that, but this should be a 3 full-time people job.
Are you caught up right now for people to...
No, I have...
So there's adults waiting to get kids too?
Right now I have 11 amazing applicants that are all screened and trained and ready to go. And I'm putting the pieces of the puzzle together, figuring out which kid is matched suitable for which mentor, and we do that collaboratively. It takes time. And I'm one person working 20 hours a week. So 11 times 20. You do the math. It takes a lot.
How many weeks is that?
Yeah, I'm doing the
and you probably work more than that, I bet, too.
Yeah, tons more.
Well, the event, right?
Oh, yes. That was, it's all volunteer, all the little extras.
Yeah.
But it's part of the package, and it's part of why I love what I do. And, yeah, and it's part of the social service sector, too. Most people I know working in the social service sector contribute a lot more than their paid hours, in my observation.
For sure.
And that's why, part of why I love what I do, too. The people that I work with, my manager, my executive director, my team, they're all amazing people.
And are they in Kamloops River?
Yeah.
What advice do you have for anyone who wants to get involved?
Just do it.
Just do it. Call you.
Call me. Yeah, we'll have my information up there.
Email.
Yeah. Some people ask.
I checked in. I think I don't know if I checked in the John Howard Kidstart or just the John Howard.
Okay, we can share the link afterwards.
I tagged it too. They can find it.
Awesome. Yeah. My advice is that it's surprisingly doable. Some of my busiest volunteers are business owners, parents, movers and shakers in the community, and there's weeks where they're really busy and they phone their buddy and they say, hey, I'm super busy, I was thinking I'm going to run to Costco tonight, would you want to come with me?
Talking about
right
that.
So they pick their buddy
take
up,
them with
take you with you to do your thing.
Yeah.
And as a parent, if you're mentoring and you have other kids along, do what you always do anyways. If you walk your dog with a buddy along. If you craft, we'll find a kid that likes to craft. If you are a super keen frisbee golf, is that what it's called?
Yeah, frolf or whatever.
If you love to frisbee golf, we'll find a kiddo that likes to do that with you, and you can just keep doing what you're doing, just adding another person. And that's actually the most successful matches are often in that situation where, they just love what they're doing and they do it with their buddies a lot.
How old? What age range are the kids most from?
Kids are between the ages of 6 and 18, but most of them, by and large, are 6 to 12. So I do have a few teenagers.
Once they get over 12, they start.
Sometimes they're too cool for it. But it's just, but the teenagers that are doing this, I have also a handful of teenagers that are doing this. They love it. It's their time to go for coffee.
Yeah.
They have their special routines with their buddies, and they look forward to it just as much. Like mentors look forward to it just as much as kids.
Yeah.
And the little kids count down the sleeps in between visits. So you're dropping them off, and they go, "How many sleeps till I see you?" And you go, 7 more sleeps, and oh, that's a long time, because 7 sleeps is a long time when you're a kid.
Is it that day?
Yeah, and they and I hear from parents that they're being asked by their child every day, is it time to see her yet? Is it time to see her yet? So,
is that hard for the parents ever? Do you hear that?
No.
Because they want
yeah,
the do better.
They're excited. When parents do this, I mean, it's an act of love. There's parts that are difficult because parents want to be able to give those things to their children that the mentors can provide, like time. A lot of families in Kidstart might not have a vehicle or disposable income to do recreational things. Right. So if you're a parent of a child in that situation,
gives them time too to get
exactly,
caught up, right?
Absolutely. So that I tell parents, one of the things is they can have that special time with their other children at home when their big kid is away, or the other children are away, and then I really do see, like, in the 13 years I've been doing this, it's a real act of love to ask for this help that you wish you could provide for your child, but for whatever reason it's not happening. If you ask for this help, it's an act of love to put your ego aside and just say, please, I would like this support for my child.
For sure.
So these parents are loving, committed, caring, amazing parents that just need a little extra support. So they're typically parents that don't have auntie, uncle, grandma, grandpa people in their children's lives.
Right.
And that's what this is. Because some of my
volunteers back east or something.
Yeah, or dad died in a logging accident and they moved here for work, and they don't have any auntie, uncle, grandma, grandpa people at all. And so they're dealing with the death of a parent, and mom had to pick up a second job to make ends meet. Mm-hmm. So the kids went from having 2 parents to having no parents, and everything's falling apart, and there's nothing for them. Our society often has nothing for them. If they're looking for free counseling supports and services, they might get 6 weeks of counseling.
And then it's over.
And then that's all that's publicly funded. So if you don't have money to access supports and services, a lot of the time there's barriers upon barriers until they light a fire, or until they get, they steal something.
Yeah.
Well, then there's millions of dollars in the judicial system for them. But we, as a society, don't prevent these things. But Kidstart does. We do. I've seen it over and over again.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. So we sort of adjusted this question, but what can you tell us about what your name means?
Okay. The original question was, would you change your name to something else if you could? And I said, no, I wouldn't. And the reason is because Tara, T-A-R-A, is a name that means something. I've traveled around the world quite a bit. And my first journey was to Japan. I lived there for a year, and I went back again for another year. And Tara means cod. So every time I introduce myself, Tara is codfish. And my last name, Jordan, is Jodan, which is joke. So codfish joke. And people would say, excuse me, in Japanese. And they'd be like, excuse me, what is your name? And I'd be like, codfish joke. And they would laugh at me. And then after I went to Japan, I had a pen pal in India who chose me from a list of pen pal names on this registry of pen pals that was sent around the world. And he picked my name because Tara means star. And when we wrote letters for more than 10 years back and forth. But the reason he chose me off this long list of names was because my name meant something in Malayalam, which is the language of Kerala state in southwestern India. And so we became pen pals for over 10 years. And then I went to visit him and his family. And that wouldn't have happened if my name wasn't Tara. Star. As they say, Tara, star or light.
That's a big change from cod to star.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of way hands down, it's way better.
Mine is cod could have been sacred in Japan too.
Yeah, who would have known? But yeah, delicacy. So I like my name, and I like that it's helped open doors for me, and it's helped create humor in my travels, and yeah.
What is the one food that you could never bring yourself to eat?
Japanese food called natto. It's fermented beans that are gooey and ooey, and it's the quintessential Japanese food.
Not even something super weird though.
It's gross. It's just fermented beans. It smells like, I don't know, bad breath. It smells like bad breath. It looks like rotten. And it's gooey like it's fermented. And a lot of Japanese people, they love it. And that's like, they'll see you eating with chopsticks really well. I lived there for 2 years, and they'll see you eating chopsticks with really, really well. And they'll lean in and go, but do you like natto? And I'd be like,
really? Yeah,
it's like they called your bluff. They're like, yeah, I don't like natto. So.
You look natural, but you're not.
Yeah, no.
Hilarious. If you could have dinner with anyone in history, who would it be and why?
First thought comes to my mind is my dad. He passed away when I was 18. So if I could build a time machine and go back, I'd like to see my dad again.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to cross that one out. What was that? Oh, we'll skip it. Is there anything else that I should have asked you that you want to talk about Kidstart? I've got lots of info there, but...
Oh, yes. Okay, I've got something for you. So, the Kidstart fundraising initiative is just trying to get the word out about our need for funding, and we have something called the Kidstart Champion Campaign. So, people can sponsor a child to participate in the program for $100 a month. With that, they get a profile of a child that they're sponsoring, which has quotes from the child, quotes from the parent, and quotes from the mentor.
So sorry, they sponsor the child, yes. Not mentor it, not mentor them.
So it's a way for people, if they're too busy to be a volunteer, but they want to help the program, they can sponsor a child to participate. So you can be a gold sponsor for $100 a month, silver for $50 a month, or $25 a month is a bronze. I'm a bronze champion, so I've been for 8 years now. $25 a month I donate back to the Kidstart program. My executive director, my assistant executive director, a lot of the management team, they're all gold sponsors of Kidstart Kids in the program. But we also now have Broad Street, Seymour Pacific has just sponsored 7 kids, and nice. There's many businesses in Campbell River that are now sponsoring kids to participate in the program, which is covering now, thankfully, about 30% of our budget. So literally, just in our community. So what that means is if you have $25 a month to give, which I think is 33 cents a day, if you have 33 cents a day to contribute to Kidstart by signing up as a bronze sponsor, or silver is $50 a month, or gold is $100 a month, which is the whole cost of a child to participate, all of those dollars and cents add up and are helping the program to sustain itself. Because before, when we would be applying for big chunks of funding, we would be desperately worried about, are we going to have to close the program? Are we going to have to are we going to be notifying mentors that the program is no more? Like year to year, it was very stressful. Right. But because of
you've built it up enough
we built it up enough that there's enough people donating annually that between fundraising and grant writing and all of the things we do, all the little fundraisers we do, and thankfully to the 100 Men Who Give a Damn group too, all of that means that we can sustain the program. But if we were able to continue, I mean, if we were able to sponsor 10 more kids, gold sponsorships, we would be able to expand the program. We could do more. So, and then you get a charitable...
So what do you mean when you say expand?
Expand, I could do more hours, so I could match more kids, so that I could do more...
So that is the goal, is to grow it so you can be full-time. So or whatever.
I would love to see, I don't...
Would you hire someone else?
I don't actually want to work full-time.
Get someone else to do it.
But I would love to have a counterpart who would work here and do that as well. I'm a homeschool parent, and
Well, maybe someone to do the stuff that you don't need to do, right? Like the back end.
Yeah, it would be amazing to have a team of people doing this and helping all the kids on our wait list together. But it would take a community effort. So if 10 more businesses or individuals were able to contribute to the Champion campaign and sponsor kids, I mean, they each get charitable tax receipts. We do on social media, because we are on Facebook, but that's it. And we send press releases to the paper too to thank them, but we thank them publicly. And then just the profile of the child that they're sponsoring, people love that. Like the gold sponsors that are getting the profiles love the feeling of knowing they're contributing to a kid in this community who gets the support they need because of Kidstart, because they're funding the program. So that's the thing I'd really like to get the word out. It's called Kidstart Champion Campaign, and it's a way for people to become champions to fund the program with even 33 cents a day. And it seems like nothing, but I know, because there's 4 of me, like that's the John Howard Society. There's another 3 staff who are all bronze champions. Together, we are a gold, which sponsors a child. So I would donate more if I could. It all adds up, and it's my 33 cents a day. And actually, I'm in a lower income tax bracket, so most of that money comes back to me at income tax season when I do my income tax. So that's the other thing. Yeah, because you get a charitable tax receipt. So it depends where you're at, but how you do your taxes. If you're donating to charity, a lot of that can come back at income tax season. Yeah, so it really helps.
So I'll do it. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll do 25, and then
awesome.
If we can get 4 other people that either see this Facebook Live or comment on it to do it as well. For every person, I'll do another 25.
Oh, amazing!
So if we get 4 people, then I'll do 100.
Wonderful.
And so if they do see it on YouTube, they can contact me if we haven't got 4 people yet, or my podcast.
Awesome.
Or through the Facebook, and then we'll try and get 4 more people, and I'll do 100. 25 minimum I'll do, though, and I'll get 4 other people.
Yeah, awesome.
I think that's fair to promote other people to do it, right?
I love that idea.
That's
I really appreciate that. So
anyone, if you want to comment below, and we'll contact you with Tara, and you can sponsor someone. It's only $25 a month. I think that's like
33 a day.
Two Starbucks or something.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't even know if you can get lunch for that these days. It's not for 2 people.
No, it's if you eat a nice lunch out, it's going to be more than that. And the thing is, because you're donating it monthly, and it just becomes part of your budget, people it's something they sustain. They get the updates, annual updates about the child they're sponsoring. They get the updates that I provide on how the match is going. And they know it just becomes a part of what they do. That's why the Champion campaign, only 33 cents a day, does add up, because over time it's a huge commitment. It's So thank you.
That's and I may do the sponsorship with a kid too, but my brain's not there right now in time. And it'll take some time. You have to work on me, maybe follow up with me. Kind of like I have to follow up with leads, right?
I've got
qualify me.
I know where to find you.
Crack the whip. Do you have anyone else, or do you don't have anything else you want to say, or you're good? That was lots, but.
Well, yeah, I guess the last thing I'd like to say is that programs like Kidstart thrive because of a caring community, and it is happening in our community. There's a momentum behind Kidstart now where people know about us, and I want to thank everybody who's ever asked a friend or family member or a coworker if they, if you know somebody who's great with kids, say you should be a mentor. And like that really helps. It really helps me to do the work that I do, to get the word out, because without an advertising budget, really we depend on word of mouth, like a great deal. So anybody who has time or love to give to a little person, call me. Please talk to the people in your social circles to tell them about Kidstart. If you work at an office or a place, anywhere, like even a coffee shop, if you're willing to become a champion organizer, you could get everybody to chip in $1 a day. And if you work with a bunch of staff,
like the whole office.
The whole office. If you're willing to collect that money, donate it to Kidstart, and you could be, the champion behind the champion support that your little office or business could donate to the Kidstart program. But there's so many ways to help Kidstart. If you're willing to put up a poster in your place of work, I have posters that we could put up. If you have any ideas at all about how to, I'm just one person. I'm so grateful to you for coming today, but if you have any ideas about how to promote the program, if you have staff meetings where I could come and speak about Kidstart, if you, the possibilities are endless, and I'm happy to explore them with you. So.
Awesome. Do you have anyone else you would recommend I interview?
There's so many people doing amazing work. Well, maybe there's a lot of people here at the John Howard Society that do such amazing work.
Like someone that's actual John Howard?
Yeah.
Because when we first did this, we geared it towards John Howard and then we adjusted to Kidstart.
Yeah. John Howard's been long deceased. And for those that don't know, John Howard Society is a social service in Campbell River that provides social services and supports for youth. And we're downtown.
Oh, so it's all youth, John Howard? Oh, okay. Just Kidstart is its own division of...
Kidstart is one of the only programs that offers 6 to 12s, the younger ones, supports and services.
Right.
But the John Howard Society of North Island, our mandate is providing supports and services to youth, 12 to 25. So, and we're downtown on 10th Avenue in a 2-story blue building. So feel free to come and say hi if you're down in the downtown area. But I have a coworker who works with finding kids who are living in Campbell River, doing our FTAP program, the full-time attendance program. So these are kids who've struggled, who are coming to Campbell River to get support, and they move here. And
full-time attendance of school? Yeah,
they attend school. They do recreation and life skills program, and then they need housing. So it's a way for people to you get paid and you provide a home for them. So it's a short-term foster care situation for youth. So I know they're always looking for homes. So maybe you can interview the lady who coordinates it. Pretty sure it's Sadie. We have such a big staff. My mind is going
we'll touch base on that. Text it to me.
We'll touch base. But I bet you she'd love to promote her need to promote her need to find homes.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't know that existed. And obviously, I know being a realtor that there's a shortage of homes everywhere and rentals.
Yes.
Lots of families looking for places, and it's tough for sure.
Yes.
So the other thing is, Tara's actually gave me a list, because people always ask me about rentals, and you guys put together a list of all the rentals in the community.
Yes.
So you pull it from all the different real estate offices and stuff, because
does.
they're not connected like sales.
Yeah.
Yeah, not you, but your coworker.
Yeah.
And then people can actually get lists here at the front desk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
So she's going to send that to me as well if anyone wants it.
Yay,
Thank you. Much appreciated.
You.
Thanks, everyone. Don't forget to keep it social.
Bye.
Bye.